Trust in Us brought to you by Sunbum. Travis, we trust in the bum for all of our skincare, sun care, hair care needs. Sunbum.com has it all. And so because we trust in the bum, listeners trust in us. They write in, ask for advice. And here's today's submission. Yo, David and Chaz, I indoctrinated my two boys by semi-forcing them to watch The North Shore. Recently, the elder boy said something about the movie that really struck me. He said, yeah, it's a bad movie, or it's not a bad movie, but too bad they messed up the ending. I frowned. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, it's a bummer that Rick Kane leaves to go to art school. I mean, he loves surfing so much and he found this girl that he loves and friends. Couldn't he just have studied art in Hawaii? And bam, that hit me hard. Why, yes, it certainly is a bummer. I always realized that the ending was kind of a bummer, but I just went along with it. So please advise, did Rick Kane blow it by leaving Hawaii to go to art school in New York, or Hawaii, or was Hawaii just a romantic detour on an otherwise prudent path? And did the writers botch one of the greatest films ever made?
I mean, I think it's quite obvious that Rick Kane utterly blew it. I thought that too at the time of watching. Like, what are you doing? You're like dating Sam George's ex-wife for one, which I mean, that's pretty epic right there, right? You got Turtle as your bestie. You're like a classic, ride or die kind of bro. You've got your mentor that you're still going to learn from, which, I think the opposite, now that I think about it, you know what the correct version of North Shore is?
Tell me.
The John Pizell story. John Pizell went to Hawaii,
never came
earned
back.
his craft, found his way. And the only problem with John Pizell's story is that he never dated Sam George's ex-wife. But aside from that, yeah, that means Pizell is the correct. They should redo North Shore with John Pizell.
I think Pizell found his own Kiani, though.
Well, I mean, there's only one Sam
happened to
George's
not be
ex-wife.
Sam George's ex-wife.
George's ex-wife. I have to disagree, though. I think picturing Rick Kane, swaggering off to art school in New York after, his run at Pipe and everything he went through to all the boards, he probably did pretty well in New York, right?
I mean,
I want to see a part two.
I'm 40. He's probably, graphic designer. He's had all the parties, swaggering around. North Shore stint done.
The art thing, like, he probably would have made a lot of money in the 80s then. Like, and
yeah, the 80s is hot, New York.
That's dang, Travis just fully, he would have been.
I mean, the North Shore
out of his
looks
mind.
the same as it did, and then more or less he can go back.
That's true.
With a compound that he built because of what he did in arts. He's like
people should trust in Travis. They shouldn't trust in us. That is wise.
To that point, New York in the 80s would have been an incredibly, I mean, it was inexpensive. There was tons of crime. There was all sorts of the seediness.
You had Andy Warhol's actual office. Yep.
Well, look at what David Carson did.
Yeah.
The guy, David Carson's story is
the Rick Kane story.
The Rick Kane story. He's got a compound in the Bahamas that jets back and forth, surfing his own private wave.
I think there's only one way to settle this, is that we have to have or stage a cage match between John Pizell and David Carson to see
who's living better.
Well, there's one definitive expert on the film, The North Shore, and that would be Devin Howard. So I had to get Devin to chime in on this. And Devin said, total nah. Are you kidding me? Hawaii is paradise on earth, especially late 80s, early 90s North Shore. Kiani would be anyone's dream girl. Beautiful, nurturing, loving, fierce.
Sam George's ex-wife.
What are you thinking bailing on that catch? Most people come out of art school in debt and never make it in art. So why not just be a struggling broke-ass surfer, at least getting barreled and living an unreal life with a babe? If you were that good at art, you can skip the school and make it on your own, like many people have. I agree with this guy's kid. He was spot on, and he may in fact have a future in screenwriting.
It's a good take. That's a romantic take.
It's a tough one, though. It is a tough one. Travis Frey did, though, open my eyes to New York in the 80s.
I think
As
that
an-
there's really an opportunity for a sequel here. That's where this needs to go.
Yeah, that's
Isn't-
true.
there's
I think
like
he
a-
did,
there's
didn't
like-
he?
There's like a quote. I think it's like Andy Warhol letting Danny Kwok into a party because he's like, let's let all the surfers in first,
yeah.
and they like walked them all the like '80s bros past the line.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and Andy Warhol just wanted like surfers in his party.
I
And
like
Kwok
it.
was there?
Maybe that's why I'm romanticizing this
I like
a little
it.
bit.
I like the connection too, back to Inherent Bummer Factory.
Yep.